Hello and welcome. This is a continuation of the previous tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be walking you through the process on downloading your Excel sheet and also inputting data into it. First, you will log on to your FCTUBEB school admin dashboard. As you can see, mine is remain LEA Primary School Galadima. Then you scroll down to where you have CA and exam sheet, affected sheet, and psychomotor sheet. You click on the CA and exam sheet, and it's going to open a tab where it starts downloading the sheet. As you can see, this is the downloaded sheet, and you double click on it to open the sheet. So here's my Excel sheet for Galadima, and this is the Excel sheet for accepted students into primary 1. If you come down to the bottom left of your tab or your desktop, whatever device you are using, you can see primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, primary 4, primary 5 up to primary 6, and nursery 1 up to nursery 3.
So as a site admin, first and foremost, what I need you to do here is to create a new Excel sheet, and to do that, rather, you go to File, you click on File, and then go to Save As. Then after going to Save As, you select a default location you want to save the file to. That is the new Excel sheet. I'm going to be using desktop here because it's easy for me to access. And again, if you are using other platforms, if you are using other devices such as your mobile phone or your Android phone or your iPhone or your tablets, you can select a location on your device which you want to save this document to. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to save it to desktop. If you are using laptop, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to save it to laptop. Save it to a place where you feel it's easy for you to work with. I'm going to use desktop for my own project for this particular tutorial because I feel it's easy for me, or rather it's easier for me to work with desktop. So I'm going to click on desktop now to save this file. This particular point here, this renaming of the file is very important. So as a site admin, there's a way in which you are going to name the file. You are going to name the file according to the school, followed by the subject, followed by the term and the session. I'm going to repeat again. You are going to rename the file according to the school, the subject, the term and the session. Let me show you a practical demonstration. If, for example, the particular school I'm working with is Galadima, LEA Galadima, so I'm going to save the file as LEA Galadima, which is the school, and then the subject. I'm working with 3 subjects for this tutorial, which is mathematics, civic and English. So I'm starting with mathematics. So the subject for this particular Excel sheet, I'm going to use mathematics, so it should be LEA Galadima mathematics. Then the term, be it first term, second term or third term, and you select the term that you are inputting. Then I'm going to use first term as my default term, so I'm going to rename it as first term. And the last thing is the session, which is 2018-2019. Sorry, 2019. So it is the school name, LEA Galadima, the subject, then the term and the session, and I'm going to click on Save. So a new Excel sheet has been generated or has been saved with this particular file name LEA, as you can see at the top of the sheet. LEA Galadima mathematics first term 2018-2019. You are going to save again for English. So to do that, you go back to File and you click as Save As. Then I told you I'm working with my desktop, saving my document to my desktop. So you click on desktop. If you are using other devices like Android, you choose the preferable location you want to save the file to. So where you have mathematics here, you erase it and you type English. So a new file has also been created. The previous file mathematics is also saved in that location where you save it initially. It hasn't been erased. The initial file is still saved in that location. So for Civic now, I will go back and do the same thing for Civic. Go to save as and save to documents. Also save it to the preferred location you want, depending on the device you are using, whether you're using tablet or you're using an Android phone or any other device. Also, again, I need to point out that if you are using other Excel reader, other Excel editor like Solaris, which is the recommended editor for your tablet or your Android phone, if any other Excel editor, you can still be able to do all these things I'm doing with this Microsoft Excel on which I'm using my desktop for. So you can also replicate the same thing on your Excel. You can create the same thing on your Solaris Office on your Android phone, or if you have Excel also, or you have the Excel app on your Android phone, fine, you can also replicate it there. So I'm going to rename the English Civic, and then I will choose save. So now I now have my three primary subjects. I now have my three primary subjects I'm going to make use of in this tutorial. So now for this is LEA Galadima Civic first term. If I go down to my desktop, this is my LEA Galadima Mathematics, LEA Galadima English, and LEA Galadima Civic. As the site admin, after you are done with this process, what you are required to do is go back to the saved Excel file and open it. After opening it, you can see it still contains primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, primary 4, primary 5, primary 6, nursery 1, nursery 2, nursery 3. It still contains that. And as I said earlier on, that the step I've shown you previously should be repeated for all subjects that has been offered in that school. So I just did the tutorial for just mathematics, English, and civic. So for other subjects that has been offered in that school, it should be replicated. So after the process, the first process now, the second process now is to assign a new sheet for the respective classes. So to do that, you go to file and you create a new Excel sheet. After creating a new Excel sheet, you go back to the initial document which you save, which is LEA Galadima Mathematics. That is the previous document you've already saved as LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019 session. And then what you need to do, you go to the bottom left of your screen, and then where you see primary 1, you right click on it. You go to where you see move or copy, and then you click. After clicking on move on copy, you go to this section that it says move selected sheet to book, and select the new Excel sheet that you've created. My new Excel sheet I have created, or the new Excel sheet I just created, is the book 1, and I'm going to choose it. Then it's going to ask you to move this particular primary 1 to the new Excel sheet. So after that, you click on OK. Do not click on create a copy. Go straight and click on OK. After clicking on OK, the primary 1 sheet is going to move from the previous Excel you saved into the new Excel you just created. As you can see, the previous Excel we created was LEA Galadima Civic. The previous you created was LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019. I repeat, the previous Excel we created was LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019. And if you scroll down to this point, you are going to see that the primary 1 is no longer in the position it ought to be. It has been moved to the new Excel sheet, which is here, as you can see. So at this point, you go to file and click on Save As. Then you select the location you want to save the file to. I'm still going to be using my desktop. Again, I want to say something very important here. This process this process I'm going through right now, it's going to be done, or is going to be given to the HOD of each respective classes for them to distribute this to the teachers or to whoever they are going to distribute it for that particular class. So the HOD of each particular classes is responsible for distributing this particular document or this particular Excel I'm going to be created. So the format that is the file naming for this Excel for the HOD must follow this process. It's going to follow the class, the subject, the term, and the session. I repeat, it's going to follow the class, the subject, the term, and the session. I'm going to show you a practical demonstration of that now. So I'm going to start with class. For this particular class, it's primary 1. So you type primary 1. The subject, it's mathematics. And then the term, which is first term, and also the session, which is 2018-2019. I will repeat again, the format for the file naming is the class first, the subject, the term, and the section. As you can see here, this is primary 1 mathematics first term 2018-2019, and then you save it. So we've able to generate an Excel sheet for primary 1 for primary 1 subject mathematics first term 2018-2019, and this sheet is for Galadima. This particular sample I'm using is for Galadima primary 1 mathematics first term 2018-2019. So we repeat the same process for other subjects as we did before. We repeat the same process for other subjects. So now I'm also going to carry out the same process for primary 2. So before I continue with primary 2, as I said earlier on, what you need to do first, you go to File, and you create a new Excel sheet. After creating a new Excel sheet, you go back to LEA Galadima Mathematics, and then where primary 2 is, you right click on it and you select the move or copy. You select the new file, the new Excel sheet you've created, which for me is book 2, and then you click on OK. By doing so, you have moved the primary 2 sheet from the previous Excel file that was created into the new sheet that is being created. So after you've done that, you go back to File and then you click on Save As. You select the location you are going to be using for saving your file. I'm still going to continue using desktop. For primary 2, you are going to rename the file in this format: primary 2 mathematics first term 2019. So it's going to be, as said earlier on, first the class, the subject, the term, and the session, and then you click Save. So after doing that, you go back to the previous sheet So now I've moved primary 1 and primary 2. There's remaining primary 3, primary 4, primary 5. So to do for primary 3, you repeat the same process. You create a new Excel sheet. After creating a new Excel sheet, you go back to previous Excel sheet of LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019 and repeat the same process. You right click and select the move or copy. So after selecting the move or copy, you move it to the new sheet that you've created, which for me is book 3, and then you click on OK. So the new Excel sheet has been moved to the Excel sheet rather from the previous sheet has been moved into this new sheet, and you click on file and save as. I'm also going to save into my default location, and then rename it primary 3 mathematics first term 2018-2019. So now the file has been renamed as primary 3 mathematics first term 2018-2019. So I'm going to close some of the file for better explanation. So now you have primary 4, primary 5, primary 6, nursery 1. So as explained earlier on, you repeat the same process for all of the classes. So I said you repeat the same process for all of the classes, and then it's going to be given to the HOD for them to pass it to the various classes. So after now, I'm going to my default location where I have saved those files. So here we have primary 1 mathematics, primary 2 mathematics, primary 3 mathematics first term. So for the computation of the results, I'm going to use primary 1 mathematics for example. So you open primary 1 mathematics, and let me use Andrew share. So for the computation for the imputation of the results, what you just need for that is just the first CA, the second CA, that is the first CA, the second CA, and then the exam. For the computation of the results, you just need the first CA, the second CA, and the exam. The total for the CA and also the cumulative is going to be done automatically by the system. So if for example Andrew scored 13 in his first CA, and the second CA he scored 14, automatically the Excel file is going to sum it up and give it a total of 27. That is, for his CA he got a total of 27, and then for exam you can put the score for exam 23. Let me use 34 for example. So now this total for his CA and his exam is cumulated to 61. So the system is going to do the computation automatically for you. There's no need calculating for average and all that. The system is going to do everything for you automatically. So when you are finished with this process now, so you are going to input data, or you are going to input the score for primary 1 mathematics first term. You are going to input the score for primary 2 mathematics first term. You input the score for primary 3 mathematics first term. The same thing with English, the same thing with civic. So after inputting the score for each and every term, Then where you have, I'm going to go back to where I have my previous LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019. As you can see here, this is primary 4, primary 5, primary 6, and number 1. The primary 1, primary 2, and primary 3 have been set to another sheet or to another Excel. So return when you've finished imputing the score, to return them back to this sheet, you go back to where you've imputed the score for this particular sheet. This is primary 1. You repeat the same process. You right click on primary 1 and then you click on move. After clicking on move, you move it to the initial sheet that you got the document from, which is LEA Galadima Mathematics. For my example, I'm using LEA Galadima Mathematics first term 2018-2019, and then you click on it, and then it's going to ask you where you want to move the sheet to. Since it's primary 1, you are going to move it before primary 4. By clicking on primary 4, the sheet is going to appear before primary 4, and then I will click on OK. So now the sheet has been sent back to the previous sheet. So this same process is going to be done for primary 2. If you go back to where you have primary 2, and then you right click on primary 2, and then you move or copy to LEA Galadima Mathematics first term, and then you select where you want to move the sheet to. So I'm going to click on primary 4 since primary 2 is before primary 4, and then click on OK. So now the sheet now has been returned to the previous Excel. So that is how you are going to go about the imputation for exam. I need to pass a serious note here. The imputation of exam is very critical. The imputation of CA and exam is very, very important. So added attention needs to be paid when you are entering the data. Added attention needs to be paid when you are entering the score, so that a child will be able to get his exam results.